Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the City Commission meeting this fourth day of May 2021. I want to thank you all for being here. For those of you who are here for the first time, just to let you know that a certain procedure we follow, we do our Pledge of Allegiance and take a roll call, and then we have the opportunity to hear from people and about people through neighborhood presentations and through presentations made by members of the commission. Tonight, there are 6 presentations, which will include a visit from our wonderful property appraiser, Marty Kiar, and the rest of the commission will be giving talks regarding organizations and individuals who have made certain achievements in our community. But before we get to that, let us begin by asking everyone to please rise so we can say the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. I would ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Vice Mayor Moritas.
Here.
Commissioner Glassman.
Here.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Here.
Commissioner Sorensen.
Here.
Mayor Trentellis.
Here, so we have full attendance. I see we have a couple of agenda announcements. Oh, here, the neighborhood presentation. Carvel Triplet. Is Carvel here? Okay, so when we get to neighborhood presentations, I'll be happy to call you up. And we are adding a resolution regarding the Stranahan cafeteria. Have you had a chance to send that to us yet? Okay. The ink is still drying. All right, so
2 announcements, if I can.
I can't hear you.
So I've got 2 announcements, if I can, with respect to the agenda.
Please tell them now.
One is to defer CM6 until May 18th.
CM6.
CM6, and the other is just a general announcement that we had advertised a public hearing to occur on this agenda that dealt with the purchasing of 1700 North Andrews Avenue from the park bond, making the announcement that that item will be deferred until June 15th, 2021.
Again, which item is that?
It's not on the agenda tonight. It was advertised for public hearing, but this is an announcement to say the public hearing will not happen tonight, but it will happen on June 15th, 2021.
Okay. And when is CM6 being deferred to?
May 18th.
May 18th.
Mayor, sorry, it's Ben. Does Alan have whatever he needs from me for the resolution?
And then some.
Perfect. I always like to
Yes,
provide
yes,
more rather than less.
We have plenty of material to work with. We're finalizing the proposed resolution.
Perfect. Thank you, Alan.
Great.
Thanks, man.
Okay, so the city of Fort Lauderdale is hosting its commission meetings in both a virtual and in-person format. For additional information on how to view or sign up to speak, if you're not here in attendance, please go to bit.ly/virtual CC meetings. Again, that website is bit.ly/virtual CC meetings. If you're here in the commission chambers and you wish to speak, please go to the rear of the room and see the clerk, and that person will be very happy to sign you up to speak tonight. And in speaking, in order to ensure decorum, we ask that you please abide by the following guidelines. First, please refrain from any behavior that is disruptive, distractive, profane, or inhibits the meeting in any way. Number 2, while you're on the phone waiting for your opportunity to speak, I will call upon you when it's your turn and also notify you when your time has expired. City staff has automatically added speakers in the to listen only mode, and you will be unmuted to speak when you are recognized. Finally, when you have completed speaking, you will be muted and may either hang up to exit the meeting or you can stay on and listen to the rest of the meeting. Thank you so much. Okay, having said all that, so do I have a motion to approve the minutes and the agenda?
So moved.
Do I hear a second? Second, it's been seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Glassman.
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie.
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas.
Yes.
Mayor Trentellis.
Yes, and the minutes have been approved as has the agenda. So tonight, our first presentation, we welcome the fabulous property appraiser for the county of Broward County is Marty Kier. Marty, you're on the line.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. And thank you for the amazing work that you and the commission does for the people of Fort Lauderdale. You know, I have never met somebody in Fort Lauderdale that dislikes living in Fort Lauderdale. And I think that you all do a fabulous job. So I really appreciate it. And thank you so much for having me on today. I promise I won't take up too much of your time. I was just really looking forward to this. And I wanted to just quickly give you, well, first for the residents, an update as to what we do in our office, and then an update to you all as to where property values are at this time. And I just wanted to briefly talk about our owner alert program that's designed to protect people from fraud. But for the first thing, for the residents, there are a few main functions to our office. The first function is we determine the value of every piece of property in Broward County, whether it's residential, commercial, tangible personal property, or centrally assessed property, which is railroads. And the reason that's important is because when you pay your property taxes, the amount of taxes you pay is a relationship between the value of the property that we set and the tax rate set by your local governments like Fort Lauderdale, the county commission, the school board, and others. And so what we want to do is just make sure we get it right and that you only pay on your fair share of value. So I always tell everybody, please go to our website at bcpa.net, type in your name, your address, your property will come up and you'll see what value we have. If you have any concern, please call me or email me at any time. The second thing that we do is we give tax saving exemptions to folks that qualify. And there are a lot of exemptions under Florida law that people qualify for. The most important one is by far the homestead exemption. It basically means if you've made Fort Lauderdale your primary residence, $50,000 of value is going to be taken off the tax roll. You no longer pay taxes on. It can save you almost $1,000 at the beginning. And then it really protects you going forward, because what it does is every year after you have a homestead exemption, the value of your tax on is capped. It can't go up more than 3%. Even if your market value gets very, very high, it ensures that your assessed taxable value will not skyrocket with your market value. There are many other exemptions as well. There are seniors exemptions, veterans exemptions, exemptions for other people with disabilities, and other exemptions. And I always tell everybody, please go to our website at bcpa.net, click on exemptions. And if there's something you're not getting, please, you have all the way till September 20th of this year to call me, to email me, so we can apply it to your property so it will be reflected in your November tax bill, which will reduce your property taxes. Also, Fort Lauderdale is doing really well right now. And I wanted to quickly give yourself, Mr. Mayor, and the commission just an update as to where property values are. And I'm actually surprised where they are, because our date of assessment is January 1st. So we're looking at January 1st, 2021 to determine what the property value is for tax purposes, and that'll be reflected in the November 2021 tax bill. And the way that we look at it is we look at all the data from the year before. And unfortunately, as you know, 2020 was a really difficult year for the people of Broward County and the people of Fort Lauderdale. It was right during the height of COVID. A lot of people lost their jobs and a lot of people really suffered. So a few months ago, I didn't believe there was going to be a value increase, because I didn't think that the real estate market was going to be increasing in value at that time as a result of what happened in 2020. But as we've been reviewing the data and going through everything, I was wrong. And the reason being is because the residential real estate market right now is really on fire. And it was really on fire in 2020 as well, where people are paying exorbitant amounts of money for properties, in particular in the Fort Lauderdale area. And it's really happening as a result of a lot of Northerners, people from New York, Connecticut, California, and other states making Florida their home. They're trying to escape really high tax states where they have an income tax and others, and they're coming here and they're paying a lot of money. And that's really driving up the values for tax purposes. And to give you an idea, last year in 2020, the market value for Fort Lauderdale for both commercial, or the taxable value for commercial and residential, was right about $41 billion. This year, you see a almost $42.5 billion value, which is about a 3.59% increase. So to give you an idea, because there's that increase in value, about $1.5 billion more dollars added to the tax roll than last year, if you keep your millage rate the same, which I believe was right about 4.1193, just in property values alone, you'll get about $6 million, possibly $6.5 million more in revenue than the year before. And just for the residents, just so you all know, if you're a homesteaded property owner, the value you're taxed on can't go up more than, I believe it's 1.4% this year. So your value that you pay taxes on is not skyrocketing. It's really because a lot of people are moving in and they're now paying at market value. Also, to give you an idea, there are 37,979 homesteaded property owners in Fort Lauderdale. You have 1,732 low-income seniors. You also have 456 seniors who are low income and have been in their home for more than 25 years that pay no property taxes. You also have, and I love this exemption, 270 full exemptions for, I believe that are American heroes that are totally permanently disabled veterans, and they became disabled while serving our country. I think that is a very important exemption, and so many of those American heroes have made Fort Lauderdale their home. So far in 2021 alone, you've had about 649 portability value transfers, which is about $71 million taken off the tax roll. There are the average market value for a single family home in Fort Lauderdale is right about $572,000. The average taxable value is about $409,000. The average market value for a condominium is about $424,000, and the average taxable value is about $361,000. And Fort Lauderdale actually has also had a significant amount of new construction. So the other thing that we value besides residential properties is commercial properties, and a lot of commercial and there are some commercial properties that are going to be seeing a reduction in value because we value them based on income and they're sharing their income with us. But there are a lot of other properties, whether it's warehouses and others, that sold for very large amounts last year. And so there's going to be an increase there. But new construction, Fort Lauderdale is once again leading the county. The largest new construction projects that have been added to the tax roll are in Fort Lauderdale. The biggest being it's called, I think, Matif at Flagler Village, which is an apartment building. That's $92 million added to the tax roll. You also have another one at 50117 of $80 million added to the tax roll. On Las Olas there is, and there's actually one single family home that made the top 10, which was another, $10.5 million added to the tax roll. So Fort Lauderdale is doing actually very, very well when it comes to values, a lot better than I thought it was going to be just a few months ago. The other thing I wanted to quickly talk about before I answered any questions from the commission is our owner alert program. Unfortunately, Broward County is the title fraud capital of the world. That's what I believe. You have a lot of people, and I think they're criminals. They do unscrupulous things where they try to hurt people with regard to the title of their property. And what they do is they record fake deeds, and the recording offices throughout the state, they have a ministerial duty. They have to accept whatever deed is recorded with them. They can't verify, they have to accept it. And then what these people do after they've recorded a fake deed on a property, they try to extort people for money or even mortgage rent or even sell their property. They try to pick on so many of our most vulnerable citizens, and it happens all the time. And so what I wanted to do was give people the opportunity to fight back. And so we actually developed in our office in-house, we spend no taxpayer dollars doing it, a free service called Owner Alert for the public. And what it does is if you go to our website at web.bcpa.net/owner alert, you can type in your name, and you can type in your property ID number, which you can easily grab from there. And it's going to ask you a few things. The first thing is your email address. And if we have your email address on file, you're verified. If we don't, we ask for your driver's license information, and then we can verify you that way, or your Florida ID card. And if we can't do that, there are other ways we can verify you. And then once we get that, if any document is filed in your property changing ownership, you get notified automatically very quickly so you can fight any of the fraud before the fraud occurs. And so far over the past 2 months, we've had about 106,000 Broward County property owners sign up for this program. And my goal is to get everybody in Broward County to sign up because unfortunately, mortgage fraud, title fraud is very prevalent, and we want to give people the opportunity to protect what I believe is their most important and also valuable asset. With that said, I can go on and on forever. I just really appreciate Mayor Trantellis, you having me on today. And again, I really appreciate the great work that you and the commission do for the people of Fort Lauderdale. And also I want to compliment your staff because as you know, our office works very closely with your wonderful city manager, your awesome attorney, and your staff. And every single day, they provide permits to us. We're looking at properties. We're adding value to the tax roll. And the only way that we're able to do our job the best we possibly can is when we have great relationships with our city staff because they provide us that documentation. And your staff is so easy to work with. They're so accessible. I just wanted to bring that up. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for having me on today.
Wow, great. Thank you so much. We really appreciate all that good information and the optimistic news about the valuations. It gives us a better idea as how we can plan going into the next fiscal year. And thank you for all the good work you do, Marty, not just as property appraiser, but you're such a goodwill ambassador for our county, and you always spread good cheer throughout every place that you ever visit. And we're very, very lucky to have you. So thank you, Marty. And
thank you.
It's so great having you as our property appraiser.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And if I could just add one thing, I just need to caveat something. The numbers I gave are still preliminary. They're not going to change much, but they could change a teeny bit here and there because there are value adjustment board hearings and we're still reviewing information and adding things to the tax roll. But thank you so much, Mr. Mayor, for your kind words. As you know, I'm a huge fan. You're awesome.
Thank you.
Also, Marty, I wanted to thank you. I got the letter from you saying sign up for this great program. And since I knew it was from you and I trust you, I signed up right away. So thank you.
Awesome. Oh, thank you, Vice Mayor. I really, really appreciate that. And, one of the, it's actually wonderful that you signed up. I love when elected officials and other people sign up as well, because honestly, the biggest issue that we ran into, and rightfully so, is when people got our letter, they wanted to make sure that our letter wasn't a fraud. And so when folks like yourself and sign up, it actually shows the public to know this is a really good service. It's from Marty Care. He's a governmental elected official, and this is really to help you. And when somebody like yourself signs up, it's I think very helpful to the public as well. So thank you so much for that.
Marty, I'm sorry. I thought it was junk mail and threw it away. Can you send me another one?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Oh, thanks, Steve. And thank you for the great work you do as well. I appreciate that. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
Moving on to
Bye,
our
everybody.
Next, thank you. Bye-bye. Moving on to our next presentation, I invite Vice Mayor Heather Moritas, who will present a proclamation regarding Cardinal Gibbons school girls soccer team here in the city of Fort Lauderdale. Can I invite the soccer team to come on up here?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Soccer team and coaches and Michael.
Coaches and everyone involved in this next presentation. Step up here and kind of turn around and face the.
You can stand right in front of the mayor, but facing that way, because that's
Yeah.
the camera. Do we have the handheld? You have it in your hand. Okay, great. I'll give it to the coaches when we're done. Okay, super. All right. Welcome, Cardinal Gibbons Chief Girls State Champs. Right. We're so proud of you. So I'm going to issue a proclamation from the Office of the Mayor for the City of Fort Lauderdale in recognition of Cardinal Gibbons Girls Soccer Team 2021 Class 4A State Champions. Whereas on March 3rd, 2021, the Cardinal Gibbons High School Chiefs were victorious in the Class 4A State Championship after trouncing the J.R. Arnold High School Marlins 2-0 at Spec Martin Stadium, DeLand, Florida. Whereas Cardinal Gibbons High School is dedicated to providing their students with a strong formation of Catholic values, academic excellence, lifelong learning, and commitment to service. In addition to the school's commitment to academic success, Cardinal Gibbons High School athletics is built on a tradition of excellence both on and off the field. Whereas the Lady Chiefs orchestrated an impressive display of teamwork by holding their opponent scoreless. Cardinal Gibbons scored the only goal of the first half and a penalty kick save in the second half preserved the shutout. Gibbons scored again in the second half, confirming the 2-0 victory over the Marlins. And whereas head coach Margot Flack, Florida Dairy Farmers Class 4A Coach of the Year, credits the championship to team's hunger for victory. After 3 consecutive years of reaching the state championship, they finally earned the win. The Chiefs' nearly flawless execution on the field and exemplary tenacity throughout the entire season resulted in them achieving this long-awaited goal, whereas the City of Fort Lauderdale congratulates the Cardinal Gibbons girls soccer team, athletic director Michael Morrill, head coach Margot Flack, assistant coaches Tom Cooper, Courtney Desmain, Jim Fry, Mike Goodrich, Paul Gregory, Victoria Hilliard, Mark Husky, and Dave McCurr. Now, therefore, we, as city commissioners of the city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, do hereby proclaim March 4th, 2021 as Cardinal Gibbons Lady Chiefs Soccer Team Day in the city of Fort Lauderdale and encourage all neighbors to join us in congratulating the Cardinal Gibbons High School and the Lady Chiefs soccer team on winning the Class 4A state championship, and do hereby wish the players and coaches continued success, dated this 4th day of May, from our Mayor, Dean J. Trantalis.
Yeah.
Congratulations. job. And then
Coach, would you like to say a
Michael
few
or
words?
Margot will hand you this mic and let you all say a few words.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Vice Mayor, our Commissioner, and all the commissioners. Mr. Lagerbloom, appreciate it. Thank you to everybody in Fort Lauderdale that supported us. Very proud of the girls, very proud of the coaching staff. Coach Flack put an incredible staff together, and the girls were outstanding all year long. They deserved it. Proud of them. Congratulations.
Great. It's okay. Hey, don't worry about it. You're better off blocking me. Good. Congratulations. Congratulations. A lot of great successes coming out of Cardinal Gibbons over the years, right? Our next presentation, we invite Commissioner Sorensen, who will present a proclamation regarding Mental Health Awareness Month. Commissioner Sorensen.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate it. Would like to present a proclamation about Mental Health Awareness Month. Is Christina Disbrow in the audience or online?
Yes, she is. Come on up.
Awesome. While she is coming up, I'm going to read the amazing proclamation. So, whereas approximately 1 in 5 adults are diagnosed with a mental illness every year in Broward County, this means about 450,000 people are currently living with a mental illness. And whereas if left untreated, mental illness can lead to severe disturbances in thinking, feeling, behavior, or mood, resulting in a substantially diminished capacity for dealing with the ordinary demands of life. And whereas the National Alliance on Mental Health Illness of Broward County, which Christina is part of the board, promotes greater public awareness about mental health illness to change negative attitudes and behaviors towards people with mental illness. And whereas NAMI, Broward County's mission is to bring awareness and programs to the local community to support a world-class treatment and recovery system for people with mental illness and their families by providing support and education, advocating for improved opportunities in housing, rehabilitation, gainful employment, and supporting public education. And whereas NAMI Broward County promotes accessible, quality mental health care that prevents hospitalizations and incarcerations. And whereas NAMI Broward County observes the month of May to raise awareness about mental health, encourage those living with mental health illness to seek help and to be uplifted by its message, you are not alone. Whereas the city of Fort Lauderdale recognizes that good mental health is critical to the well-being of our families, communities, schools, and businesses, and reaffirms our commitment to support this important initiative to help ensure those who need assistance have access to the support they deserve. We, therefore, as the city commissioners of the city of Fort Lauderdale, hereby proclaim May 2021 as Mental Health Awareness Month. Signed, your mayor, Dean J. Trout-Tellis. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Mayor.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of NAMI Broward, the NAMI Advocacy Group, the NAGS, and the 3,500 consumers that we serve every year, thank you so much for recognizing May as Mental Health Awareness Month once again. If COVID has taught us anything, it is the connection between mental health, physical health, and optimal health. Throughout COVID, mental health has had a surge in awareness, and also people realizing that their mental health might not be as good as it could be. The good news is that people are seeking help and are realizing they're not alone. We encourage anyone who's feeling maybe a little blue, a little anxious, might be little for you, but to us, it's a really big deal. We have virtual programs. Hopefully we'll be starting them in person soon. And we encourage you to seek out our support and programs at NAMIBroward.org. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Christina. And Mayor, I can jump right into my next presentation if you like. Thank you, Mayor. So now I would like to present and declare May 2021 as Lupus Awareness Month. And Stephen Hinkle, if you're in the audience, if you'd like to come on up. Thank you, Stephen. And lupus is especially has impacted Stephen and his family. His father was a longtime Fort Lauderdale resident who had lupus. And so this is on behalf of his father. And Stephen, thank you for being with us here. This is in recognition of Lupus Awareness Month, May 2021. Whereas each year, the Lupus Foundation of America designates May as National Lupus Awareness Month to show support for the estimated 1.5 million Americans who have lupus and more than 5 million worldwide. And whereas lupus is a complex autoimmune disease in which the immune system is unbalanced and causes widespread inflammation and tissue damage in the organs, and it can affect any part of the body, including skin, joints, lungs, heart, kidneys, and brains. Whereas lupus strikes mostly women of childbearing age, no one is safe from the disease. African Americans, Hispanic, Asians, and Native Americans are 2 to 3 times more likely to develop lupus, a disparity that remains unexplained. And whereas on May 21st, the Lupus Foundation of America asks that you put on purple to advocate, educate, and support this misunderstood disease. It's an opportunity for the lupus community to join across the country to raise awareness of the physical, emotional, and economic impact of lupus. Now, therefore, we as a city commission of the city of Fort Lauderdale hereby proclaim May 2021 as Lupus Awareness Month in the city of Fort Lauderdale. Signed, your mayor, Dean J. Trantelis. Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, everybody. This is truly a homecoming. It's where I was born and raised the first half of my life. My father, who had lupus, lived here for more than 20 years. In addition, my mom and aunt also worked at City Hall, and my stepdad used to work at the fire department across the street. May I just ask a quick question? Anybody in here know anybody with lupus? You don't have to go into detail. Okay, that is bittersweet for me because on one hand, I don't wish lupus on anybody, but growing up to include high school and college, it was very lonely not knowing anybody else with a family member, a friend, and so on with lupus. Although there's 1.5 million Americans in the country with lupus, growing up, I thought my dad was the only one. Lastly, 5 or 6 years ago, with the help of Dwight Stevenson, my niche became raising awareness and fundraising with NFL alumni. And this year's theme honors Dwight Stevenson, and it's Make Lupus the Center of Attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I also want to recognize my colleague from the city of Wilton Manors, Chris Caputo. Thank you for being here tonight, City Commissioner. Anybody else from any city? No. Very good. So now I'd like to invite Commissioner Glassman, who has a presentation to make.
Thank you, Mayor. And I would love to have join me, Vincenzo, Vinny from Franco and Vinny, please. I'm going to make a presentation. I see. Thank you. Your wife, Katerina, correct? Katerina, would you like to come up? And maybe family also, the whole family? As my people like to say, the whole mishpucha. Bring them up. Okay, so we're going to have them over there. Yes, that's good. Okay, thank you. This is a proclamation from the office of the mayor, city of Fort Lauderdale, in recognition of Franco and Vinny's Pizza Shack, 50 years of memories. Whereas, after 50 years, Fort Lauderdale's iconic Italian eatery, Franco and Vinny's Pizza Shack, served their last slice on April 30th. And whereas Vincenzo Vinny Esposito immigrated to the United States in 1966 in pursuit of the American dream as a young man with a 7th grade education and an ironclad work ethic. And whereas Vinny was born and raised in Naples, Italy, and together with his late brother Franco, opened Franco and Vinny's Pizza Shack in 1971. And whereas what started as a beachside operation flipping pizzas became a living embodiment of their heritage in the form of an authentic Italian trattoria. And whereas the restaurant quickly grew into the cherished local mainstay for some of the city's most sought after pizzas, pasta dishes, and Neapolitan specialties, some of which came straight from the recipe cards of Franco and Vinny's mother. And whereas the Pizza Shack would ultimately host the likes of notable public figures visiting town alongside 3 generations of local families whose experiences in the dining room became synonymous with tradition and togetherness. And whereas Vinny, now 79, you look good, served as an ever-present figure behind the counter who was relied on for remembering names, faces, and the favorite dishes of regulars, many of whom were found dining at the counter bar on a regular basis. And whereas Franco and Vinny's was woven into the fabric of the Fort Lauderdale community as the heartwarming backdrop to many families' most precious moments and celebrations, and whereas the city of Fort Lauderdale congratulates Vincenzo Esposito and Frank and Vinny's Pizza Shack for their service to the community of locals and annual visitors for 5 decades, and wishes Vinny much success and good health in future endeavors. Now, therefore, we as city commissioners of the city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, do hereby proclaim May 4, 2021 as Franco and Vinny's Pizza Shack Day in the city of Fort Lauderdale, and dated this the 4th day of May, 2021, and signed by the Honorable Mayor, Dean J. Trentalis.
Bravo, bravo. I wish you the best of health in your retirement. Absolutely. Does he cook at home? You were. You cook at home.
Yes, you were. Well, I want to thank you, the mayor of Fort Lauderdale, all the commission, and all the people in Fort Lauderdale. They keep me going. And this is where I am now. It's an honor. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Thank you so much to everybody. Thank you for all your support. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Absolutely. So Commissioner Glassman, don't go too far, who will present our last proclamation tonight. Do you have it with you? There you go. Is Jeffrey Stahl? Oh, he's on the line. He's not here tonight, but he's
Yes, Mr. Stahl from the ADL is joining us virtually, correct?
yes.
But also with us this evening, we have Rabbi Noah Kitty from Congregation Etz Chaim in person. Rabbi, if you would like to. Thank you. Thank you for being with us this evening. Okay. And before I read this proclamation, I did want to just make mention of it. When I first saw the draft of it just the other day, the coincidence and the irony, but not in a good way, was I had just gotten a text message from one of the rabbis in town informing me that on Friday evening, which is the beginning of the Jewish Sabbath, they had garbage cans overturned at their synagogue. And on the actual garbage cans, after the garbage was dumped all over the property, there was really very hateful flyers and very awful language left on the property of the synagogue. And then I read this proclamation that I'm going to be doing, and I'm going, wow, so timely. And yet it just makes us realize that no matter how far we think we always come in terms of people, accepting the diversity of our city, of our state, our country, our world, it just never ends. The hate just never ends. And so it was incredible to get that text message with the photos of the flyers that were left at the synagogue. And then at the same time, I'm reading this proclamation that you will hear. This is from the office of the mayor from the city of Fort Lauderdale. Proclamation presented in recognition of the Anti-Defamation League and the No Place for Hate Day. Whereas for more than 108 years, the Anti-Defamation League, ADL, has broken many barriers and bridged many obstacles in carrying out its mission, quote, to stop the defamation of the Jewish people and to secure justice and fair treatment to all. And whereas anti-Semitism in Florida is not a history lesson, it is a current event. As the 911 for the Jewish community in Florida, one of the largest growing Jewish populations in the United States, the ADL of Florida office serves as the primary resource for victims of anti-Semitism and discrimination. And whereas to prevent and combat anti-Semitism, the ADL of Florida delivers effective anti-bias education programs to educators and students of all ages, trains law enforcement about hate crimes and extremist groups, safeguards civil rights and the separation of church and state, confronts anti-Semitism on college campuses, provides security seminars to religious institutions, fields discrimination complaints, advocates for Israel, and promotes interfaith relations. And whereas the demand for ADL's resources and skills to help individuals and communities to confront, challenge, combat, and counteract hatred in all its forms is higher than at any time in recent memory. And whereas on May 14th, 2021, the ADL of Florida will celebrate No Place for Hate Day to encourage all Floridians to become change makers for tolerance and acceptance. And whereas No Place for Hate Day celebrates individuals, schools, organizations, and communities that strive to create diverse, inclusive, and equitable space. And whereas in the spirit of unity and inclusion, the Mayor and City Commission of Fort Lauderdale declare that we commit ourselves to challenging hate whenever and wherever it manifests itself. Now, therefore, we as City Commissioners of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, do hereby proclaim May 14, 2021 as No Place for Hate Day in the City of Fort Lauderdale, and dated this the 4th of May, 2021, and signed by our Mayor, the Honorable Dean J. Trentalis. Yes, Jeff, did you want to say a few words virtually from the ADL, Mr. Stahl?
Sure, thank you. And thank you to Commissioner Glassman. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Vice Mayor, as well as Commissioners McKenzie and Sorensen for inviting me here today to accept this proclamation in honor of ADL's 2021 No Place for Hate Day. Commissioner just shared one of the experiences that he recently had, and we want to make sure that everyone knows that they can always reach out to the ADL to report any acts of violence or hate, and there are a number of resources. In fact, since 1913, the mission of the Anti-Defamation League has been what you heard, which is to stop the defamation of the Jewish people and to protect the rights and fair treatment for everyone. And ADL has been dedicated to combating anti-Semitism, prejudice, bigotry, and hate of all kinds, as well as defending democratic ideals and promoting civil rights for many, many years. And they've been a leading resource on the effective responses to violent hate and extremism. Unfortunately, we cannot legislate, tabulate, or regulate our way to a healthier and more accepting society. Each of us, however, can commit ourselves to personally model the behavior that we wish to see at others. So to create a world in which no group or individual suffers from bias, discrimination, or hate. And it was in this spirit that 4 years ago that the ADL Florida region started holding the annual No Place for Hate Day. It was a way to encourage all Floridians to engage in the process instead of just being bystanders, and to become change makers for both acceptance, diversity, as well as inclusivity. So we celebrate all of our schools around the state who've committed to becoming No Place for Hate campuses, but we appreciate that on this May 14th, we will also be celebrating you and all who stand together with us to affirm that in Florida, there is no place for hate. We'd encourage everyone that participates to join the effort on social media to please use the hashtag No Place for Hate so that we can spread the message across not just the Broward borders, but beyond. And thank you again to the entire Fort Lauderdale City Commission for joining in this effort, for declaring that there is no place for hate in the city of Fort Lauderdale. We were very, very privileged and honored. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. And in the well with me, I have Rabbi Noah Kitty from Congregation at Chaim. Rabbi, would you like to say a word?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Stephen, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, everyone present. Thank you very much for recognition of this very important day. There is no place for hate. What I personally am going forward doing is to not fight hate, but to transform it. With all the energy, the negative energy directed towards so many minority communities, we can find ourselves engaged in some sort of eternal struggle. You know, we will fight against people who target us. Instead, I encourage everyone to put your energies towards transforming the hate into love, transforming the negative into the positive, to use the accusations against us, against anyone, as a springboard to do more of the transformation that we've dedicated ourselves to. If we're accused of being cheap, we're going to redouble our giving efforts. If we're accused of being less, somehow we're going to redouble our efforts in being more. And we will use their energy to make ourselves even better and brighter, and to honor the wonderful city that so many of us live in and has been so welcoming for so long. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you. Nice to see you again. So that concludes our presentations for this evening, and I thank everyone for being here tonight. And we certainly have some very important folks and institutions and certainly causes in our community to continue to reflect upon and support. So thank you, members of the commission, for all your work you did tonight and making these presentations possible. Okay, moving forward. Okay, so at this point, members of the commission will be asked whether or not they want to pull an item from the consent agenda. If the item is pulled from the consent agenda, that item will be addressed. Any member of the public will be permitted to speak at that time, and it will be voted on separately from the rest of the consent agenda items. If an item is not pulled, and a member of the public still wishes to speak upon it, I would invite you to raise your hand and let me know that you want to speak on that particular consent agenda item. And before we vote on all of them, I would welcome you to come to the podium and speak on that specific item. Again, if it's being pulled by a commissioner, then we would wait until that item comes up and we vote on it separately. So, Vice Mayor, do you have any items that you wish to pull from the consent agenda?
CP2?
Which CP2?
Yes.
Commissioner Glassman?
Same one. Thank you.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Nothing, sir.
Okay, and Commissioner Sorensen?
Yes, thank you. CR4, please, CR4.
CR4, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, so if a member of the public wishes to speak on CP2 or CR4, please, I invite you to wait for that time in which we discuss that separate agenda item. In the meantime, is there anyone in the public who wishes to speak on any other consent agenda item? Now would be the time to do that. Is there anybody that wishes to do that? Okay, I see nobody. So, all right. So do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda items except CP2 and CR4? And CM6, by the way, is being deferred until May 18th. So we won't be voting on that either. Do I hear a motion to approve those consent agenda items?
Moved.
So-
It's been moved and seconded?
Second.
Second, okay. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and those consent agenda items are now approved. So let us move on to CR4. This would be the resolution regarding the consolidated budget amendment. So that would be Commissioner Sorensen.
Thanks, Mayor. Let's see, Chris, Mayor, is Raj there?
He certainly is.
He is?
Fantastic. If he could, I just had a question for him.
Actually, he's leaving the room now that you at now.
Yes.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Raj, would you like to come up to the podium, please? Thank you.
I'll be gentle.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Raj. Raj, you and I had touched on this, but if you could just share with the public, with us, looking at pump station Alpha 7, just give us an update on that. Also Alpha A13, and then also A18. If you can give us a little update on those three, please.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the commission. A13, the project has been done and that pump station is in operations. A7 has got two parts to it. One part is the lining of the gravity mains. That is about 80% done, and the remaining 20%, hopefully will be able to finish in next 6 weeks or so. So we have about $180,000 that we are moving out of that particular project and putting it into this amendment. Then the other project is the A18, and that is about 95% complete, and there is about $1 million left. So we are combining this $1 million saving from A18 to $180,000 from A7, and we are moving up 3 projects that you have: Victoria Park Sewer Basin A19 rehab, and Rio Vista Sewer Basin D43 rehab, and the Flagler Heights Sewer Basin A21 laterals, for a total of $1,880,000. So basically what we are doing is that the savings that we have, we are moving up 3 additional projects to faster track our lining of the project. So if I can just just quickly repeat, A13 is done, and A18 is substantially done. The only part that is left is A7, and A7 pump station has got into a little dispute with a contractor. We are trying to resolve it, and hopefully we would have some resolution. The initial completion date was August end of this year. If we are able to resolve the issues, hopefully we'll be able to complete that by December of this year. If not, then of course I cannot tell you whether we have to go out for bids again or depending on what's the outcome. So I would say that, that we are moving up some projects, and with the exception of the just pump station, we are pretty much well on the way.
Thanks, Raj. I mean, so the bottom line is these are massive main projects that we're experiencing under budget and in great efficiency in getting them moved and completed.
Yes, I mean, normally, Commissioner, what happens is that anytime we prepare the budget, you approve the budget, they are planning numbers. And in some instances, we are under budget, some instances we are over budget. So this is just one of the ways that if we have the savings, we try to move up the project and move forward such that we have less number of projects in the coming years. So to answer your question, yes, sir.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. It's great news. And it's just good for the people of Fort Lauderdale now and into the future. So thank you, Raj. I appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Any other questions regarding CR4?
None from me.
Would you like to move the item, Commissioner?
I'll move it.
So the resolution has been introduced. Please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending the City of Fort Lauderdale's FY 2021 final all funds budget for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2020 and ending September 30, 2021 is amended by appropriating and transferring funds as set forth in the City Commission Agenda Memo number 21-0094, amending the City of Fort Lauderdale's final FY 2021, FY 2025 Community Investment Plan for the fiscal years beginning October 1, 2020 and ending September 30, 2025 as amended by appropriating and transferring funds as set forth in the City Commission Agenda Memo number 21-0094, abandoning the clarifier pipe replacement downtown sewer basin pump station A-7 rehabilitation as basin A-18 sanitary sewer collection system rehabilitation projects and providing for severability and an effective date. Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
You're on mute, Commissioner.
I thought I had, yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trentals.
Yes, and the resolution is approved. CP2, Commissioner Moritas, and I believe Commissioner Glassman, Vice Mayor Moritas, I'm sorry.
Yes, and maybe we have a similar question, and maybe it's just the title is a little confusing. I know we're rejecting this bid, Chris, but when we go to rebid it, I know we're redoing the aquatic complex and City Hall. So has the scope changed, or do we still need to work?
Yeah, this deals with 40-year inspections. So let me get our procurement officer to come to the podium, and she's prepared to explain what CP2 is.
I guess, is there anything left at the aquatic complex that needs to be redone? Thought we cleared all that up. Still working on it. Oh.
Any questions, Commissioner Glassman?
Yes, I think we're.
They're very, very similar to Vice Mayor's.
Do you
Please
want me
go
to take
ahead.
it both at once? Or?
Please go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. Jody Hart, Chief Procurement Officer. The specifications on this particular bid that need to be revised are actually in the best interest of the city. In the past, we have done specifications where we limit our vendors on how much of a mobility cost they're allowed to charge based on a % of the total. And usually that was done so that we didn't have the vendors pad the mobility cost as a profit center. What we found out was that in essence, what we were doing was penalizing ourselves by not allowing, basically we were motivating the vendors to charge us more money so that that percentage would be a higher number for them. And in this particular case, the first ranked vendor charged us a 21% mobility, which seems really high because we thought it should be about a 5% mobility. Well, the problem is their bid came in at $410,000, and I couldn't get them to lower their mobility down to be that 5%. It wouldn't be profitable for them to do it. So I would have to find them non-responsive. The next lowest bidder was $612,000. And I couldn't justify us paying more money because of that limitation of that mobility. So that's the reason that we're going back out to bid. It really has nothing to do with, you know, what work needs to be done or the specifications being wrong as far as the actual work that needs to be done. It's just the limitation that we put in place that we probably shouldn't have put there.
Okay, so I understand that, but hopefully the scope of the work isn't great if we're going to tear down the building soon. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that the scope of the work is stuff that definitely needs to be done, and it's specific to all of the buildings, not just what they're rebuilding over at the Aquatic Center. There's a lot of stuff at City Hall as well.
My questions were basically the same as Vice Mayor's. I'm good. Thank you.
All right, very good. So would someone like to,
Hold on.
oh, did you have something you wanted to ask?
I have a bone to pick with Jody.
Whoa.
A personal point of privilege, Mayor,
What's that?
if I may.
Uh-oh.
Jody,
Yes.
have I heard that you're leaving the city of Fort Lauderdale's gainful employment?
Yes, unfortunately.
This has not come in front of a vote for the commission. I have not seen a resolution approving this, Mayor. I don't support this. I would not.
Nor do I, Commissioner, for what it's worth.
Excuse me, Chris?
I said, nor do I, for what it's
Thank
worth.
you.
But, unfortunately, we're having to compete with quality of life, and that's hard to do.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Jody will be terribly missed.
Chris, there's a quality of life in working with this tremendous commission and mayor that I would think would be sufficient.
That's all. I just so that you know, and this is very unorthodox. I am very, very humbled by the good wishes that I have gotten from everyone. But please know that my dedication to the city of Fort Lauderdale has taken me almost an hour and a half each way for the last 3 years. And I love the city enough to do it up to that time, but there's got to be a point where quality of life has to come into play. So yes.
And she lives in Oakland Park. Our traffic is terrible.
Traffic's that bad.
Yeah. Can't we do something about our traffic, city manager?
Bike lanes.
Get a tunnel, dig a tunnel.
Yeah.
So,
Jody, thank you for your service. You are an amazing part of the team. I'm going to miss you. I know the whole city team's going to miss you. You're just amazing. Thank you for all you've done for us. And the door is always open, so don't hesitate in coming back.
so very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Jody.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay. Would someone like to move the item?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner
Is this on Jody's resignation, or is this?
Wait, to reject? Yes. Thank you.
All right.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and the item is approved. We move on to a motion M1, motion approving an event agreement and music exemption with the American Cancer Society, Relay for Life. Get down with American Cancer Society. Someone like to move?
Mayor, I think we skipped the presentations, did we?
Presentations are next.
After the motions?
We'll read your agenda.
My agenda has it the other way, but that's okay.
The official agenda.
Okay, good. Well, I am just coming back to City Hall, so I have to get into it. Thank you.
You're a little disoriented now that you're
I
here in
am.
person. I get that.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on, would someone like to move the item?
So moved.
Been moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Any questions? There being none, please call the roll.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and M1 is approved. M2, motion accepting the comprehensive annual financial report for the fiscal year ended September 30, 2020 for submittal to the Florida Auditor General. Are you good with this, Mr. Herbst? Okay. Any questions? There being none, someone like to move the item?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and the financial report will now be submitted to the Florida Auditors General. So now we move on to neighbor presentations. We have two tonight. The first one is with Dennis Ulmer. Dennis, are you here in these chambers or are you on? Oh, he's on. Hi,
I'm
Dennis.
here virtually. Hello.
Hi.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. I'm Dennis Ullman. I'm speaking to you this evening about remembering Memorial Day. Last year, because of COVID-19, there was no public remembrance for Memorial Day in the city. This year, there will be one once again on Memorial Day, Monday, May 31st at 9 a.m. at Lauderdale Memorial Park Cemetery, 2001 Southwest 4th Avenue, Fort Lauderdale. I hope those listening will plan to attend. I visited Arlington National Cemetery several times, a few times with Gold Star families whose loved ones died while serving our country in Afghanistan or Iraq and are laid to rest in Section 60. A Gold Star family is a family who has lost a loved one while serving our country in one of our military services. The best way to honor a Gold Star family's hero is to listen if they want to share their loved one's story. Most often they do. Arlington National Cemetery, a majestic place, fitting for the final resting place of our national heroes. It's a sad place too. You look around and see the hundreds of tombstones. There are so many heroes, so many hopes and dreams that will never be. Memorial Day is not Veterans Day. Memorial Day is the day we set aside to honor those who over our nation's 245 years fought and died for the principles we hold dear as a nation. Always remember, freedom isn't free. Too many gave that last full measure of devotion for our liberty and freedom that we sometimes take for granted. It is fitting that not far from Arlington National Cemetery and our National Archives are our founding national documents with those values and principles their heroism has helped endure. Whether our heroes are laid to rest here in America or in a foreign land, we remember their sacrifice for freedom. May we always remember our American heroes. We forever honor them, and may our Gold Star families take comfort as we forever honor their loved ones. Your dignity, perseverance, and strength honors your hero and is an inspiration to all of us. May our heroes rest in eternal peace, and may God bless our Gold Star families and the United States of America. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Dennis. Very inspiring message. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis.
Our next neighbor presentation is Carvel and Striplet. Carvel, you here? Please step up to the podium. We usually give 3 minutes for presentation, but whatever you need to take.
Okay. Ready? All right, I'm here to comment basically on a resolution that this commission approved last meeting regarding the trans issue. Just want to say first, thank you, Glassman. Thank you, Mayor Tritalis. Thank you, Commissioner Sorsen. Just want to first say, it was great to see the rabbi say there was no place for hate. Vice Mayor Morales, I have to point out this to you. Trans women are women. I like what you did. You proved, you showed the women came over here. You had the soccer team over here, and that was good. That was great. But you have to understand, as a trans woman, we face discriminatory, we be demonized. We are constantly like ridiculed. And it's so disgusting that right now that the conservative movement is to go after trans women, go after create issues that do not exist. What is the purpose of that? There's no purpose for that. And Commissioner McKenzie, I just want to inform you, Black trans lives matter as well. And it's so hypocritical for you, Vice Mayor, that you champion yourself as a Christian. You champion yourself that you are for women's rights. You champion yourself that you want to help the underdog, but you're being hypocritical. You have two members of you have the mayor, you have a commissioner who are openly gay and part of my community. And it's frankly disgusting that in this country that we are trying to propose bills for problems that don't exist. Already this year in 2021, we lost 17 trans women. Majority of them were Black and brown. Promoting hateful legislation, promoting ridicule, like issues that don't exist. Use your Christian heart. Use your Christian heart. You preach that you're a person of faith, and I'm glad that we had the rabbi here. There's no place for hate. There's no place for hate. So on that, I just want to express that. I'm glad that it was approved under that, but being hypocritical, you can change that. You claim to be faithful, follow through, practice what you preach. So on that, also, I just want to comment. Also, today is May 4th. I had a friend, Monica Roberts. Today would be her birthday. We lost her last year. She did a lot of advocacy work in the Houston and Texas area. A lot of she was one of the pioneers of the Trans Remember Day, and today is our birthday, and just want to acknowledge that. So, thank you again. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Glassman, for the opportunity to speak here. And please, Vice Mayor, follow your heart, follow your Christian heart. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Mayor, may I just say a word to Carvel?
Okay, sure.
Thank you. And Carvel, I just wanted to take a moment and thank you for being here. Actually,
Yeah.
I saw that you were going to speak. It actually is one of the reasons that I am in person today. I've been attending the commission meetings remotely. But I did want to express myself and just say thank you for being here and thank you for speaking to your true self.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I want you to know how valued you are as a member of our community, as a citizen, participating here in the city of Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale is a wonderfully diverse, welcoming city, and you will always be valued in this city. And you spoke about your friend who passed away, and you mentioned how many transgender women have been murdered this year. I've been doing a lot of reading lately since our last meeting, and I actually was shocked to find out that in April alone, 3 transgender women of color were murdered in the United States. And you're right, 17 so far in just a few short months.
And
44 transgender women were murdered in the United States last year, the year before this.
Yeah.
If you read the studies from the National Center for Transgender Equality, and you read the studies from the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force, the statistics are appalling. The rate of suicide among transgender youth, appalling in comparison to non-transgender youth. To read about the inequities in employment and unemployment and housing, and you name a topic, you name an issue, and yet all of the studies that were done, the most recent, almost 7,000 transgendered folks were surveyed. on a whole range of topics. And yet what was so startling and touching was at the end of the survey, you still heard that there's still a resilience there. There is still a will to say, I'm here, this is who I am, and I'm going to survive, and I'm going to be a wonderful citizen.
I could speak that for my own experience. I mean, from being trained, we're speaking about, you had the rabbi here talking about transformative thing, experiences. And I came from where I had to work the streets. I had to do everything, the hustle and things. And now I stand here as a bike shop owner. I went through the struggles, and it just frankly disgusts me that in this country, we went through Black Lives Matter, we went through, and there's still something wrong with the conservative view. I'm pointing this out there. Why obsess with trans issues? They don't exist. There's no rampant amount of trans women taking scholarships. And it's kind of like funny that you had the soccer team here too. And it's like, there's not even one evidence, one story of a trans woman taking scholarship from a woman. And besides, again, trans women are women, Vice Mayor.
Yes, I'm definitely not debating that you're not a woman, and I definitely support your
Then why you don't stand for the rights?
live, work,
Yes.
and play in our city. But I do have to say, I think you have a physical advantage over me being born a biological female. So that's why I do
That is
not-
the opinion. There's been research and that says when a person is on hormones for X amount of years, I have to look at the research, but the research last time I saw was 5 years or more. There's levels in which some women, natural born women, have more testosterone than some high performance athletes. There's no correlation to that. So I heard that argument before. That sounds like another conservative, bizarre, non-critical thinking. Sorry, I'm being harsh, but it's true. But
And I just want to say thank you. I think
Thank
you're
you.
right. I think so much of this is really education and learning the facts.
yes,
That is why the Florida High School Athletic Association has had procedures and policies in place. I leave it up to the experts. You're right. There's never been an issue.
absolutely.
It is a solution in search of a problem. But I think the more we have this kind of dialogue and we have education, I think we'll get there. But again, I just wanted to say thank you for, being here.
And I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
And I also
Mr. Glassman.
thank you for being here too. I really do. And I want to hear your perspective. I still believe my perspective that I want biological women to stay in the sport. And, I don't understand obviously the issue as much as you do, but I have
It
to
doesn't
look,
exist.
I have to look at Caitlyn Jenner and what she just said this week. So, I don't.
Why am I
understand-
surprised?
All right, wait, she's talking.
I have to look at people who also have this experience and see what they say. So as an athlete, as an Olympian, she has this perspective. I'm looking at your body. Do you want to stand next to me and see how different you look? Do you want to arm wrestle? I know you're stronger than me.
Yeah, but guess what? I don't want to compete in sport. Not every trans woman. That's that assumption again. That's that
Right.
Republican
Well,
assumption.
It's not a
Yeah.
Republican assumption.
It is.
I do believe men are biologically.
And you
bigger
call me a man. Yeah? That's what you're saying?
All right, okay.
Yeah.
I think we've expressed our points of view.
Mayor,
Let me hear Carvel.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you.
Mayor,
Glass.
can I talk, Mayor?
Wait a minute. Just hold on a sec. And thank you, Vice Mayor Moritas. Do you want to say a final word, Commissioner Sorensen?
Yeah. So a couple of things, and this I'm learning too. So this is something that I'm trying to get smarter on too. Commissioner, Glassman, and I've done a little bit of research on this, but you probably know it better than I do. The NCAA, right, allows for transgender athletes, right? And they do a level of hormone testing. Do I have that right?
Yes, the NCAA and in Florida, the Florida High School Athletic Association have had policies and protocols in place for almost a decade now. And there has been no issue. There has been absolutely no issue. In fact, they've been able to identify 11 transgender women, girls, who actually wanted to play in sports in public schools K through 12.
11 over the last, I think, 8 or 9 years. And out of the 11, one was a transgender woman, and it was on the bowling team.
Yeah.
And yet that took up hours and hours and hours of debate in the Florida legislature, when God knows there are so many issues that we could be debating that really matter to the population in the state of Florida. But yes, you're correct. They've had-
Thanks. And Commissioner Glassman, and if I think I have this right, that the NCAA is so convicted in their view of transgender athletes that they're even saying they're looking at boycotting or avoiding states that don't allow for equal, fair competition. Have you heard that? Or
Yes, that is correct. And in fact, in the state of Florida, we have had statements of support from many of the professional sports teams, such as even in our area, the Miami Heat and the Florida Panthers. And then there've been some, I think, Tampa soccer team, Orlando. There've been actual sports teams that have come out against that bill that was recently passed in Tallahassee.
And then is it Carvel? I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing.
Yes, Carvel.
Carvel, yeah.
Carvel still there? Can I talk to her, please?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Hey, Carvel. So, and I know, Carvel, you know this much better than I do, but one, thank you for being here. Thank you for speaking your truth. And for me, differences don't divide us. It's the differences between you and me, between your background, your experiences, and mine that make us stronger. I'm a better person because there are people like you in the world that challenge norms, that challenge biases, that elevate our thinking, elevate our justice, elevate our equality. You bring us out of our comfort zones and stretch us. I appreciate that. And we have two little girls, a 4-year-old and 7-year-old. My hope is that when they have friends, when they play sports, when they socialize, that they look for people that are different. They look for people that have different viewpoints, different perspectives, different backgrounds. Because for my daughters, I'm very convinced that the more they connect with people that have different perspectives, different backgrounds, the more they will find that which unites them, that which connects them, that which connects their humanity. So it's a stretch for us. It's a stretch for me at times, but we need more champions like you to encourage us to be greater, better humans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, well,
And Mayor, I want to know one thing. If Caitlyn Jenner believes what she's saying, why is she teeing off from the women's tee when she plays golf all the time?
That's true. Yeah.
By the way,
I've
it's
seen
very
that.
true. And I want to know what that's all about.
I don't know. Why don't you call her?
I'm going to find out.
Okay. Let's move on. Thank you, Carvel. I
Thank
appreciate you
you.
being here. Support the words of Commissioner Sorensen and Glassman, and you know what? It is education. Maybe we all need to instead of condemn one another for disagreeing with one another, that we reach out to one another, and avoid the hate, and seek love, and perhaps we can find more basis for agreement than disagreement. So anyway, moving on. So we are at R1, appointment of board and committee members. Do you want to read the names into the record?
Yes, for the May 18th meeting resolution, some names that have been brought forward for consensus: Code Enforcement Board, Mayor Trentalis nominating Kyle Sawchuk. For Community Services Board, Commissioner Glassman nominating Emma Cullum. And another consensus nomination from Commissioner Glassman for the Central City Redevelopment Board, Moshe Yehoshel. And then individual nominations, Commissioner Glassman for Planning and Zoning Board, Steve Gannon. For tonight's resolution, Beach Business Improvement District Advisory Committee, Carlos Salazar as primary member and Ken Elizondo as alternate member. Charter Revision Board, Kushla Talbot, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. Citizens Police Review Board, Lieutenant Avery Figueroa. And the lieutenant is a officer appointed by the Chief of Police. Economic Development Advisory Board, Michael Larigas, nominated by Mayor Trentalis. Fire Rescue Facilities Bond, Blue Ribbon Committee, Patrick Durindon, nominated by Commissioner Glassman. And rounding this resolution out, Steve Witten, nominated by, for the Marine Advisory Board, Steve Witten, nominated by Commissioner Glassman.
Any other modifications or additions to those names that were just read into the record? Okay, there being none, would someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
A resolution in the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, appointing or nominating, if applicable, board and committee members as set forth in the exhibit attached here to and made a part hereof. Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and those members are now appointed to the boards and committees, and I thank you all for agreeing to give of your time, and thank you so much for participating in the work of the city. R2, a resolution approving the termination of appointment of a board and committee member. Someone like to introduce the resolution? Vice Mayor?
Introduced.
Any questions regarding this?
I do, only because it's a little bit unusual, because the appointment says November 19th, 2019. So this person's been serving for a year and a half, but there's nothing in the backup. Was it just egregious? Was it just like just?
It was. We do have the video if you want to see it. We are choosing not to necessarily overly embarrass the person. I was hoping not to, but we can certainly show it to you if you all would like to see it.
I think what the commissioner has.
Yes, but did he not just want to resign? Or?
No.
No,
I
he didn't want to resign.
My communications to him, he wouldn't return my phone call. He wouldn't agree to meet with me. He offered for me to attend his board meeting, his city board meeting, and discuss it with him at his board meeting. I invited him here. I invited him to resign without making it public, and he declined all of the above.
Okay, thank you. I did get to see bits and pieces. I didn't get to see the whole thing, but I understand. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Any further questions from the commission? There being none, please call the roll.
Okay, and on this resolution, this is Economic Development Advisory Board. The board member is David Neal. So then this was introduced by Vice Mayor Morris. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, terminating the appointment of board and committee members as set forth in the exhibit attached here to and made a part hereof. Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and that resolution is approved. Moving on to PH1, public hearing and adoption of resolution approving the Parks, Recreation, and Beaches Advisory Board's recommendation for approval of 39 parks improvement projects. First of all, I just want to thank everybody in our Parks Department for working with the community, both before and after the adoption of the bond, for identifying these improvements that now make up these 39 park improvement projects. I also want to thank all the members of our community who gave so many hours of their time and sacrifice, not being with their families and sometimes away from other obligations, to work with the city to try to identify these projects and to really come up with some really important, I think, quality of life improvements that these projects will now make, and using the money that was that we borrowed from the bond to make this happen. So the combined effort of everybody in this community is what makes Fort Lauderdale the great city that it is. in the great community that we all live in. And so is anyone going to make a presentation here? Are there any questions?
We certainly can. We can have the Parks Director make a presentation. I talked with each member of the commission about this particular item and made reference to the fact that these were the 39 projects that were designed prior to working with the consultant on the parks bond. They're the ones that had no changes to them. So the thought was that we could bundle them together because they hadn't been changed from start to finish and just and move forward with all 39.
Okay, so if there are no questions, we can just, would someone like to introduce the resolution?
Introduced.
Okay, any further questions regarding these projects?
I did, Mayor, just really quickly. I don't know if Phil's not, oh, there's Phil. He's live and in person. Phil, if you could just, and I'll give you a second to get up there, but some issues came up at my pre-agenda meeting last night, and I just wanted to make sure, was there any further outreach? I know there was a tremendous amount of outreach that went into with the website, and I thought it was a great website. But now that this came before us tonight, have the specific neighborhoods where these parks are located, have they again been, informed that this is moving forward in this first phase and this work was coming to us for approval? Have they had that kind of outreach?
Well, we had the outreach to let them know that it was back on the website as far as any changes that were going to be made, so they could revisit that if they had any questions. We have not gone back out to the community again. So on these sites, as the city manager mentioned, these sites are ones that during the outreach, there was no significant changes to what we initially wanted to do, and the neighborhoods were aware of what we wanted to do if they went to the website either prior to or after. So we feel very comfortable that these 39 are what we believe as staff and consultant and the neighborhoods want to see done on these 39 parks. So as we move on to phase 2 and phase 3, that's when we start to have a little bit more of the need and the challenge to go back out and make sure that we're doing what we need to do, because those had different ideas, had some changes they'd like to see done. So that's why those are not in this group. But so as this really gets us going, so we can continue to stay on track and stay on the time and get things done. And why AECom is working to get these built, then they will be going back out to the communities, working on the rest of the parks that need to be finalized as far as the conceptual. And then we'll be getting with the commission and finalizing that and then bringing those at the next wave.
Okay. So basically it's the projects that were not the signature projects.
Correct.
Okay, but yet I didn't remember that in the phase 1 for the team 1, it did say Holiday Park.
Yeah, so those are on there just because they are continuing to work on those now as part of phase 1, as far as the planning and design, and then going back out to the neighborhoods. But they don't need to be part of this public hearing, because as the bond covenants were approved, the 4 signature parks did not go through the board in the public hearing process. Not to say that, I can guarantee you the Parks Board's been very involved in the signature parks, and they, we'll be coming back to you with those as well. But it was not a requirement, so that's why it was not included in the 39 parks. But they are those, so Carter, mainly Carter and Holiday are going to need some time. And so they're already working on those now to at least have something to go back out with the neighborhood to talk about.
Okay, great. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Any other questions of Phil? Okay, there being none, please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, approving the Parks, Recreation, and Beaches Advisory Board's recommendation for approval pursuant to the Parks and Recreation General Obligation Bond Resolution numbers 18-261 and 20-08 of 39 parks improvement projects with proceeds from the Parks and Recreation Series 2020A General Obligation Bonds. Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and the resolution is adopted. Our city is going to shine now. Okay, now we have PH2. This is the first reading, a quasi judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from exclusive parking XP district to community business CB district with 0.18 acres of commercial flex allocation and associated site plan approval for a 138-room hotel and 5698 square feet of retail use and a parking reduction, 800 Las Olas LLC and Mustang Properties, Inc. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in, and the commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Vice Mayor, do you have any disclosures?
Yes, January 14th, 2020, Robert Lockery, and then June 30th, 2020, Robert Lockery, Charlie Ladd, and Steve Hudson.
Okay, Commissioner Glassman?
Thank you, Mayor. I have Robert Lockery and Charlie Ladd on July 2nd, 2020.
July.
That's what my notes say. Maybe is that wrong?
No, I'm not just.
Huh?
No, I'm just commenting.
I'm a full-time commissioner. I work through the summer. I don't take a break.
In July.
On
a cruise.
And we are proud of
Yeah.
your service.
Thank you, Mayor. I just
Thank you.
want you to know
I think next week we'll do a proclamation for you.
I'm staying away from those. Thank you, though. That's good. But that's what I have. I'll have to correct it if it's a mistake. But
Okay.
that's what I have written.
All right.
Sorry.
Commissioner McKenzie?
I had an additional phone call from my previous meetings with Lockery and Mr. Ladd.
Okay, and Commissioner Sorensen?
Multiple meetings with Ladd and Lockery.
Okay, and I had meetings with Mr. Ladd, Mr. Lockery, and I'm sure Mr. Hudson regarding this, and a site visit. What are you going to do with the Yeti building? Was it Yeti or they're moving? Okay. All right. Anyone wishing to speak? I see Mr. Lockery signed up for questions only. Any questions, comments? Do I hear a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Been moved. Do I hear
Second.
a second? Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and public hearing is now closed. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
It's been introduced.
An ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A, revised compilation attached thereto, and by reference made a part thereof, so as to rezone from XP exclusive use parking lot district to CB community business district through the allocation of commercial flexibility lot 1 and the east half of lot 2, block 14, Coley Hammock, according to the plat thereof recorded in plat book 1, page 17 of the public records of Broward County, Florida, located west of Southeast 10th Terrace, north of East Los Olas Boulevard, east of Southeast 9th Avenue, and south of Southeast 2nd Court, all said lands being in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes, and I realized I forgot to mention meeting with Steve Hudson as well. So 3 of them. Yes, thank you.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and the ordinance is approved on first reading. See you in a few weeks. Now moving on to PH3. This is the first reading quasi judicial ordinance amending City of Fort Lauderdale Unified Land Development Regulations, Section 47-37B.4, list of permitted and conditional uses, Uptown Urban Village Northeast, Uptown Urban Village Northwest, Uptown Urban Village Southeast, and Uptown Urban Village Southwest, and Uptown Urban Village South Central.
Uptown.
You've been busy.
Uptown, yes.
Uptown.
Redo-
She's
I
a
told you
full-
we're redoing it.
too.
Full time,
Know that.
full time.
Okay, anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. There'd be no disclosures here, really, because there's no, this is our doing, right?
Right, yeah.
This is a planning.
Yeah, it's a
item,
planning
so-
thing, unless you had a site visit. Any disclosures?
No, just staff. I've met with our
Just
department
staff, yeah.
numerous times. Yeah.
Commissioner Glassman?
Mostly site visits all throughout the summer.
Which summer?
Everyone.
Okay, Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes, sir.
you don't have any disclosures, do you?
No, I don't.
No. And Commissioner Sorensen?
None, thanks.
Okay.
Hey,
nor-
Mayor, can we file a response to the Sun Sentinel article that said we're not really open for business here in Fort, I'm not open for business. We weren't attracting business in Fort Lauderdale. They quoted Palm Beach and Miami. Let's let them know Uptown's open and Las Olas for that sake. That was a
Well,
strange article.
I think that the article was a little misleading. Certainly the headline did not speak to the body of the story.
Right, right. So
And,
hopefully they see all the.
That happens.
Yes,
So, the thing is, we don't have to make headlines to achieve goals.
right.
Our goals are being achieved, and like I said in the article, I think that doing it in a deliberate and measured way, it's much more sustainable than having an influx of, I hear about all these restaurants moving from the Northeast all the way like into Miami. How many of them are really going to survive? It's like, we welcome the new places that are opening up here in Fort Lauderdale, and I don't wish anyone to fail, but the reality is that I think our teams, whether they be the Broward Alliance, the workshop, our own development department, I think that everyone works in tandem, and I think we're achieving really great goals, and certainly Uptown is a ripe campus for future development, and I know that we're open for business.
We're open. We're ready. We're ready to attract all those businesses.
Okay. I don't think there's no one really signed up to speak on this, so I guess we still need to close public hearing. So do I hear a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Been moved,
Second.
seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes,
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and public hearing is now closed. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
It's been introduced.
An ordinance of the city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, amending Article 13, additional zoning districts of the city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations. Section 47-37B.4 entitled List of Permitted and Conditional Uses, Uptown Urban Village Northeast, Uptown Urban Village Northwest, Uptown Village Southeast, Uptown Urban Village Southwest, and Uptown Urban Village South Central, to amend the table of permitted and conditional uses, providing for severability, providing for conflicts and repeal, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and the ordinance is approved on first reading. Moving on to PH4. It's a first reading, quasi-judicial ordinance indicating a 10-foot wide by 75-foot long right-of-way between Southeast 10th Terrace and Southeast 9th Avenue, again with Las Olas LLC and Mustang Properties, Inc. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in, and the commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Vice Mayor, do you have any disclosures?
Just the ones I just made. It's the same group, right?
Yeah. Same project.
Or I can repeat them. Yeah.
Same.
Same. Commissioner McKenzie?
Same.
Okay, Commissioner Sorensen?
Same.
Okay, I have the same disclosures that I did in PH2. So there is one person who signed up to speak, Mr. Lockery, but only for questions. Anyone have any comments or statements with regard to this? There being none, would someone move to close public hearing?
So moved.
It's been moved. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes,
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and public hearing is now closed. I would like to introduce the ordinance.
Introduced.
The ordinance has now been introduced.
An ordinance of the city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, vacating a portion of that platted 10-foot alley lying adjacent to Lot 1 and the east 25 feet of Lot 2 and lying adjacent to Lot 16 and east 25 feet of Lot 15, Block 14, Coley according to the plat thereof, recorded in Plat Book 1, page 17 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, located north of East Los Olos Boulevard, south of Southeast 2nd Court, east of Southeast 9th Avenue, and west of Southeast 10th Terrace. All said land situate, lying, and being in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas.
Yes.
Mayor Trent House.
Yes, and the ordinance is now approved on first reading. PH 5, first reading on a quasi judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from Regional Activity Center West Mixed Use District to a Regional Activity Center City Center, RACCC. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. The commission will announce site visits, communications or expert opinions received, and make them a part of the record. Any disclosures, Vice Mayor?
Yes. Is PH 5, 4/30/2021, Stephanie Toothaker. So recently, and then before that, 3/5/2020, Stephanie Toothaker and Nikki Kushner.
And what was the last one?
Stephanie Toothaker and Nikki Kushner.
Any disclosures, Commissioner Glassman?
Just a site visit, nothing else.
Commissioner McKenzie?
Conversation with the representative.
And Commissioner Sorensen?
None.
Okay, I think I had a communication with Stephanie Toothaker. Did not have any site visits. Okay, so one person has signed up to speak, I think for questions only. That's Stephanie Toothaker. Any questions or comments? Anyone from the audience wishing to
Mayor,
speak?
she's present, and she's present with a presentation that has just started sharing. I don't know if you want to check in. I don't know if the commission wants a presentation or not.
I don't think we need a presentation.
Good evening. This is Stephanie Toothaker. I do not need to give a presentation. I'm happy to just answer any questions if you have them.
Okay.
Where'd you get those glasses?
Yeah.
I'm glad you like them.
Yes. That's the only question I had right now.
Do you want a pair just like that?
No, but I just think they're
I think
striking.
you're
What do you think?
jealous.
What do you think?
Thank you.
Striking.
You look gold leaf.
Wow.
Anyway, moving on. Someone like to close public hearing? Do I hear a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
So move. Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes, yes, yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trent House.
Yes, and public hearing is now closed. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
An ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of the official zoning map of City of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto, and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from RAC-WMU Regional Activity Center West Mixed Use District to RAC-CC Regional Activity Center City District, all of lots 2, 3, 4, 5, 20, 21, and 22, and a portion of lots 1, 6, 19, 23, and 24. Block 16, all lots 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23, and portion of lots 1, 2, and 24, and a portion of the 14-foot platted alley, Block 17, Town of Fort Lauderdale, according to the plat thereof, recorded in Plat Book B, page 40 of the Public Records of Dade County, Florida, located west of Moffett Avenue, southwest 2nd Avenue, north of Himmershey Street, east of southwest 4th Avenue, and south of West Broward Boulevard, all said lands being in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trent House.
Yes, and I also wanted to add to my disclosures, I believe I also met with Ms. Toothaker's client. on this as well. Okay, OSR ordinance second reading. This is amending ordinance number C-18-24, which vacated a portion of Northwest First Avenue right-of-way adjacent to and south of West Sunrise Boulevard to correct the conditions of approval in connection with the Progresso Commons development located at 947 North Andrews Avenue. Anyone have any questions? No one signed up to speak. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
Please call the roll.
An ordinance amending ordinance number C-18-24 of the city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, which vacated a portion of Northwest First Avenue to revise the conditions of approval, providing for severability, repeal of conflicting ordinance provisions, and providing for an effective date. Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and the ordinance is now approved on second reading. OSR 2, second reading, quasi judicial ordinance approving a rezoning from community facility house of worship to exclusive use parking. The allocation of 0.274 acres of commercial flex and site plan approval of a surface level parking lot at the First Presbyterian Church of Fort Lauderdale. Anyone wishing to speak must be sworn in. Commission will announce any site visits, communications, or expert opinions received and make them a part of the record. Vice Mayor, any disclosures? Any additional?
No, nothing additional. from last.
Commissioner Glassman,
Nothing additional.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Nothing additional.
and Commissioner Sorensen.
Nothing additional.
Okay, and I have nothing additional as well. So I have no one signed up to speak. Anyone here in the chambers wishes to speak on this? Okay, no one has signed up. So someone please make a motion to close public hearing.
Moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Please call the roll.
Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas.
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes. And so public hearing is now closed. Thank you. Someone like to introduce the ordinance?
Introduced.
It's been introduced. Please call the roll.
An ordinance amending section 47-1.6.b of the city of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, Unified Land Development Regulations through the revision of official zoning map of city of Fort Lauderdale and Schedule A revised compilation attached thereto and by reference made a part thereof so as to rezone from CFH Community Facility House of Worship District to XP Exclusive Use Parking Lot District through the allocation of commercial flexibility. All of Lot 13, the west 6.37 feet of Lot 14, Block 34, Coley Hammock, plat thereof, recorded in Plat Book 1, page 17 of the Public Records of Broward County, Florida, and approving an associated site plan located west of Southeast 15th Avenue, north of Southeast 4th Street, east of Tarpon Drive, and south of East Los Olos Boulevard, all said lands being in the city of Fort Lauderdale, Broward County, Florida. Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes, and the ordinance is now approved on second reading. We have the walk-on resolution, which is regarding Stranahan High School, which takes us from the signing of the Magna Carta all the way to the history.
Yeah. You guys did a good
Really?
job.
I don't think I've ever seen a 3-page resolution.
Wow.
Very thorough.
We did say we got a lot of material,
Yes,
so.
good job there,
So
Commissioner.
Ah.
Sorensen.
you want to take a moment? Let's just take a moment and look at it. There'll be pause in the action, ladies and gentlemen.
Mayor, I think we'd like to make a little bit of a addition update. I'm not sure. Just
The addition.
2 more pages to add, just 2 more. No, about 2 sentences, I think, to add. Alan will help me.
Okay, Al, why don't you have that conversation with Alan while we're reading?
Right, to your question, Commissioner, the reason we didn't add unanimous was somewhat based on the conversation we had last meeting, that we didn't want to presume unanimity. right away. So if it's unanimous, of course, we can insert that in.
Yeah.
There is one whereas clause that was removed by our office that the commissioner wants us to potentially consider re-adding, which would state, whereas the mayor and the city commission expressed or unanimously expressed support for the community's recommendation to replace the cafeteria at Stranahan High School based on the need established through the replacement school analysis and public input from the community. That would be an additional whereas clause. That's, I believe so, that was one, I think, of the concerns. In stating the community's recommendations, we know we have several members of the community that have recommended, but I don't know if the commission wants to express that the entire community is recommending it. So those are words that you can play with, and depending on the message you want to send.
Commissioner Sorensen, haven't you been working with the community for a couple of years? And don't you agree that it's the desire of the community, the entire community you're working with?
I do, Vice Mayor. Yes.
I think that sounds reasonable, as long as he's been working on it for a few years.
Yeah. Can I just say something here? I mean, I'm just being a little bit of a lawyer right now. In section 1 of the resolution.
For the record, you are a lawyer.
Yeah, I know. Full disclosure.
Full-time lawyer, right?
Yeah. The City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale hereby urges the School Board of Broward County to upgrade the proposed renovation of the Stranahan High School cafeteria to accommodate current and future projected capacity, including promised restroom upgrades. That's not really what we're saying. We want replacement, because upgrade could also be interpreted as renovation. And I think, isn't the purpose of this to insist upon the full replacement, not just the renovation?
Where are you, Mayor? I lost.
Section 1.
Page 3, where the resolution.
Yeah, section. Yeah, that's what we're changing, because somehow I don't know why that's in there. But yes.
To upgrade.
No.
To not just upgrade the renovation, but to replace the high school cafeteria. Right?
Yes, that's the language Alan's.
And bathrooms to accommodate current and future projected capacity, right? That's what we want to say.
Yeah, I don't know why that was taken out. So it's supposed to say the mayor and city commission express support for the community's recommendation to replace the cafeteria at Stranahan High School.
And the bathrooms.
And the bathrooms. Yeah, I don't know. Yes.
I think originally because it was put in as a whereas clause and it needed to be in section 1.
Right, but I think the action we're asking for
section 1
is it should be included in there as well.
Okay.
So
we'll change that.
So change that. Okay. So if you're all good with this, would someone like to introduce the resolution as amended?
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Sorry, and just
amended.
Yeah, we're gonna add unanimous.
Yes, and we'll add unanimous. I guess it's unanimous. Is it unanimous? Okay.
Yep.
All right.
No, well, hold on a second.
Okay.
I don't like resolutions, so I will not support the resolution itself. However, I support everything in it if it's going to be presented in person by one of us arguing to differ what was proposed through the bond process. I agree with everything we're talking about. I just don't like the form of resolution doing it.
Okay, but are you going to support the resolution?
I'm not going to support the resolution, but I support the contents of it.
Well, so you're so it's going to be unanimous?
No, it's not unanimous. I'm not supporting that resolution. I don't believe in resolutions because they do nothing. I believe in a fight at the table trying to make this happen, because we've been here before. Mayor Trantalis, we were there with Romney when he was doing it. I sat in meetings over there, and the school board did nothing to address our issues. And I just think we got to find a different vehicle to make these folks understand what it is we want. When they come to us asking things individually, we find a way to do it. So I don't know how we're going to make this happen. Stranahan deserves everything that they want, but resolutions, in my opinion, just don't get it done.
Okay, but I think it was disclosed to us that Commissioner Sorensen is going to go there in person.
I support that.
Okay, but there's nothing, but unfortunately, because of the way government works, we have only certain tools. We have only certain tools with which to work.
I know.
And one of them is called a resolution. We can't do anything more than that. We
I get
can't
that.
pass
I get that.
ordinance. Okay, so I really hope you'll reconsider because it will give Commissioner Sorensen that much more authority and power when he does make his personal appearance to say, my entire commission supports this. Because if it shows that my entire commission doesn't support this, it's going to give them a wedge to try to find a way to get out of their obligation.
He went to law school too. He can say that I don't support the resolution, but I support the contents of it.
Yeah, but that's not going to be on record. That's not going to be on record. What's going to be on record is the word unanimous or not unanimous. So, and you will be on record as not supporting it. And you don't want that.
I don't want to support a resolution. So I don't know how, I mean, this is why we get in these, that's why we get into these little debates and issues, because it's philosophical. It means nothing if I don't like resolution unless it's in-house. We control our own in-house resolutions. We have a way of shaping that narrative. When we send them to Tallahassee, when we send them over to the city of Wilkes, we send them over to the city of Oakland Park, they mean nothing unless that commission wants to do it.
Well, we're doing that though. We are sending a commissioner to introduce this item and to fight on behalf of the kids at High and this community. And
I'm gonna stand on what I believe, man. I'm not supporting the resolution. I support you all in your efforts.
Okay, great. Mayor, let's just move ahead. It's not.
All right, so that will not be amended then.
Fine. But
It
we
will
are
be amended to change replacement. and all that.
Right. But not
bathrooms, replacement cafeteria.
right.
Yep.
And the bathrooms. Okay.
And the bathrooms is a replacement as well, correct?
Right. Okay. And Commissioner Sorensen introduced the resolution as so amended. Please call the roll.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, expressing support for the community's recommendation to replace the cafeteria at Stranahan High School based on the need established through the replacement school analysis and public input from the community. Commissioner Glassman,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
No for the resolution.
Commissioner Sorensen,
Yes, but Mayor, I thought in that phrase, we were going to say replace the cafeteria and the bathrooms.
Yes, we.
Okay, I just didn't hear that. Okay, great.
In the
Yes.
title, we have cafeteria. We didn't have the bathroom in there, but we will add that as amended.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Yes.
Vice Mayor Moritas,
Yes, I'm looking at the resolution name also, though. It says to upgrade the.
No,
proposed-
we changed that.
We
Yeah,
changed, that's
yeah.
what we've been
You have the old
discussing.
version now.
10 minutes that I, okay.
Yeah, we just changed.
Okay, yes.
Mayor Trentalis.
Yes. And the resolution is approved 4-1. And thank you, Commissioner Sorensen, for
Yeah,
taking.
thank you all. Mary and Estelle did a lot of work on this, and Natalie, so thank you to them.
Great, thank you.
Thank you to everyone. And thank you, Alan, to your staff as well for.
Yeah, thanks, Alan and Dwayne.
Thank you, legal.
Yeah,
Thank
try
you.
to
Joey.
try to pare it down next time.
Yeah.
That wasn't on.
I mean, it's just
Like one, like fix the
looks
bathroom.
like the Britannica version. Okay, so for those who are old enough to know what that is.
I do.
Any further business? Do we have any further business?
Encyclopedia Britannica.
No other business.
City manager, do you have any further business?
No other business tonight, Mayor.
Meeting adjourned.
You adjourn.
Thank